everybody, Dr. Annie Armstrong here, Head to Toe Spine and Sports Therapy. I'm really excited to be here with Dr.Lees Schuster. He is joining our clinic August 1st. Dr. Lee is a graduate of New York Chiropractic College, and he has been focusing a lot of his attention since graduation on the super tough athletes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's been rugby all the way. And you said volleyball too, and
yes,
a couple other...
done a little work with AVP. They just had the Seattle Open was a couple weeks ago.
What's AVP?
That is professional volleyball organization.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what it stands for.
Okay.
I tried to look it up the other day.
That's all right. All the the quick terminology. And you're with the Seattle Saracens.
So the Seattle Saracens are the premier club team in Seattle, and then there's the Seattle Seawolves, which are the professional team. They're in the MLR, Major League Rugby.
Man, I mean, we always talk about like football, right? And then rugby guys say, well, if rugby's essentially football without a helmet. Is that like I don't know rugby that well, right? But that's what I kind of hear is that it's like if you're the ultra tough man should play rugby.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're into 80 minutes of pure controlled chaos, that's the sport to go for. I mean, just like soccer, it's straight through each half. Yeah,
it's crazy. I'm gonna obviously have to watch more rugby now that I'm getting to know you. So what did you play rugby like in college, or what was your passion?
So I started playing rugby in high school, my senior year. I knew I was going to undergraduate that had rugby, and a lot of my friends played for that team. So I played throughout college, played some men's club. Then once I got into chiropractic college, I was like, kind of had to put that on the back burner a little bit.
Yeah.
Can't break my hands, can't break my face anymore.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I know your hands. I know. Well, I don't know. Personally, for me, the most injuries I've ever had in my life, I shouldn't probably say this on live video, but was during chiropractic college,
really?
Because, we're all learning to adjust on each other.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like, let me just try to adjust your neck one more time.
So that was probably second best for me. I mean, first best definitely rugby. It's
a
little bit more rough and tough.
Yeah, no kidding. Super, super rough. So you got out of school, you went into rugby, you managed to get yourself aligned with these two great teams, which is really a coup. It's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then it sounds like from talking with you earlier that you really found some people that you wanted to follow here in Seattle too in regards to your learning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, talk a bit about that.
Well, that's one of the main reasons why I've come head to toe is that we have all these other practitioners that know so many more things. Everybody's so willing to just impart their knowledge on you. So that was one of the best things about coming on to head to toe. But the Seattle area in general, it's just kind of a beacon for physical therapists and like people that work with the body and chiropractors and whatnot. Functional Patterns has a main headquarters down in Belltown, and that's somebody that them, Naughty Aguilar, those are people that I'm trying to connect with and learn more from.
I'm really excited you're going to be bringing that to the clinic. And
me too.
Again, it's really neat how Head to Toe's grown. I know that we're getting to know each other, but for those of you who have been with me for a long time, you guys remember I had a 500 square foot office, and it was just me, right? And I was sort of determined to do things differently. I'm like, I'm going to spend time with patients. I'm going to do all this active release. I'm going to do exercise therapy and all these things. And it's always been so fun. But now having this opportunity to work with you, with Dr. Harris, with Dr. Jenny, like just this growth of knowledge, it's been fun. And I feel like our toolkit is just going to grow exponentially with you and having you aboard. So
let's make it a tool shed.
Let's make it a tool shed. Oh, I like that so much more than a kit. A tool shed. So back to rugby. I feel like rugby is so I just think of it as such a tough sport. And then here, we have really, well, not just here, but, the huge growth of CrossFit. And then some really other high intense workout programs like Orange Theory and a couple other gyms just really putting it down hard. So how do you feel about I guess what I want to ask is how do you relate the experience you've had with rugby and sort of the injuries you see? Are there common injury patterns you see? And how does that maybe tie into people who are working really hard at CrossFit? What do you see there?
So a lot of people that I work with, the rugby teams, are actually CrossFitters as well.
Okay. That would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, that cross-training component that CrossFit allows, where you're lifting weights and you're also moving your body weight and pushing off the ground and running. I mean, it's very similar to rugby. It's very high impact, a lot of running, and you have to move your body very well to play that sport.
Yeah.
But just in general, I'd say they do share a lot of similar injuries, some around the hips as well as the shoulders. With CrossFit, I see a lot of people that have bicipital tendonitis.
Yeah.
And that's pretty major. Anything over the head, that's where they're getting it in CrossFit, but in rugby, like surprisingly, there's a lot of things that are overhead as well. Like whether you're binding on another opponent or you're lifting somebody in a line out.
What does that mean, binding on another opponent?
So like a scrum down, like where they have like 8 people on 8 people, and they all come together and they push over the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have to bind together, and it's very that whole movement itself is very dependent on everybody being bound together.
Okay.
If you don't have 16 people bound together, it's either that the scrum will fall, or there can be a penalty, or a dangerous play altogether.
Huh. Okay.
So that binding that they have to do in that move in the scrum is they're grabbing their opponent and pulling them in, very similar to like a lat pull down, or if some of them have to push as well, so very similar to like an overhead press. So a lot of that stuff is very similar to Olympic training that goes on at CrossFit. So that's actually part of the reason why we tell some of the rugby guys to go
do
get involved in CrossFit.
Yeah, it's so awesome because CrossFit is like the dynamic overhead movement. It is huge. You know,
that's one of the main things they do.
Exactly, and it's just such an amazing training piece.
Oh yeah.
So that's cool. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
That's really cool. So you see a lot of sort of shoulder stuff. I mean, I definitely, if you ask me, what do you see coming from CrossFit? It is shoulders.
Yeah. ACs and bicep tendons.
Yes, over and over, and then definitely hip. You know, so. You second on the hip, like you see a specific injury in the hip, or just generalized like super tight, not moving, or
extreme tightness,
flexors
especially.
Yes,
I mean, that goes. I think for most athletes, that squat and deadlift.
Yeah.
That tends to be an issue. But a lot of the rugby guys, they tend to lack mobility, which is different than other sports, like in the hips especially.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to CrossFit, where it's like you're doing sagittal motions, you're doing bringing stuff off the ground and straight up, and then you're running forward, but you're not really doing much side-to-side stuff.
Yeah.
So that's stuff that we try to implement in the athletes and CrossFitters.
It seems to be the bane of all training, though. Well, actually, just movement patterns. I mean, if we could generalize one thing, we're way too forward in our movement patterns, and we seem to lack that side-to-side.
Right. Try to give people a little bit more rotation.
Everyone's going to do their clamshells. Yeah. No, just kidding. I'm sure we can get better than that. But I mean, seriously, right? We just don't use our side body enough.
It's true.
And it seems to go throughout. Everything. I don't know about Pilates actually as much, but from there forward, we tend to use our front body way more for all patterns of life.
Oh yeah.
So, what about like upper back stuff? Do you see a lot of that?
So upper back, especially like around the neck, like not necessarily like the upper back as much as maybe like the CT region.
Yeah.
That tends to get a little jammed up as well. I mean, you have people that are pulled inward because they have large pecs, or because they're being crunched together in those small positions, like in the scrums and the rucks. In and of itself, they have to have a lot of neck mobility, and they don't actually. Some of them lack it just because they have large traps that are protecting the shoulders.
Right.
So it tends to be a little bit of an issue, but I find that as you correct more the hips and the way that the upper back is, I guess, aligned, simple chiropractic stuff is usually very helpful.
Yeah.
And postural training in general.
Yeah, the beauty of a good adjustment is just huge.
It's
huge
massive.
on athletes.
Yeah. Especially the road guys, that's all they come to me for most of the time. It's either the tape, or can you adjust me, or do some ART or some sort.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, that's really where so many of these things have been born. I mean, certainly Active Release was born around the triathlete crowd, as you know. So it started with Ironman, and actually Dr.Lees, who developed Active Release, so I think he did Kona like 20 times.
Yeah.
He's just crazy. It's amazing. But I mean, he just started developing this protocol for athletes, and that's, I think, what I love about it is how effective it is in that sort of like, you've got 5 minutes, I can get you moving so much better with a couple of really good approaches.
Well, that's the only amount of time we have sometimes at
That's
practice.
all you have,
You got
right?
30, 40 guys running around the field. You can't spend 20 minutes with them on the sideline.
Yeah, you don't have the luxury of it.
Right.
Nor do you have the luxury of a clinic and all the equipment and bells and whistles. You just got to have really excellent manual therapy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. So yeah, getting that translation. So you're seeing hips, you're seeing shoulders, kind of the key things you're seeing.
Yeah.
All right. And I guess the curiosity then, talking about more of us everyday folks, is like, if you were to think, like, what do I need to do to really help everyday athletes? People like myself, people like, over 40, who are trying to stay strong, trying to work out, whether they're doing CrossFit or home exercise or whatever they're doing. Like, is there something that you really feel passionate if everyone did every day that they would be healthier?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll preface that answer with we didn't have one major injury on our rugby team this year, the CLC Wolves. I think we had one broken thumb, and that's the most major injury that we had all season.
So that's huge. Congratulations to you looking after those guys. That's massive.
It's more me just nagging them and
there you go.
Telling them
right?
to get on this stuff that we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Just purchasing a lacrosse ball, $2-3, and putting it on tight areas of your body, with like any muscle you can. I say if you can do that once a day in a tight area, you're going to improve that area after a week. Just being consistent with that is massive.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So a little lacrosse ball and just bring your joint through a full range of motion. I like to use functional range conditioning, and CARS specifically, controlled articular rotations, which is controlled joint rotation, joint circles. Bringing your joint through a full range of motion, it stimulates the proprioceptors in your joint capsule because they're only engaged when they're at end ranges. So if you constantly push that end range day after day, eventually you're going to build a range of motion that is, one, sustainable, and two, it's full. If you have full range of motion, you have full capacity to actually move well. If you have full capacity to move well, performance just increases from there.
I love that. And how simple is that? To take I mean, you don't need any special equipment.
No, 20 minutes a day.
20 minutes a day.
That's it.
Take everything through full movement. And, everyone knows I'm a massive foam roller nag. Lacrosse ball nag. I mean, I've been on it for years, right? In fact, for those of you watching, I am teaching foam rolling tonight. Little plug, 6:30, and lacrosse balling. But, I mean, it seems like too simple. You look at someone like yourself who's like, you're working on high-level athletes, right? But again, it's back down to these basic, really basic principles.
Very back to
basics.
basics.
Move your joint in all ranges of motion. Loosen up your tight muscles. Don't let those muscles get ahead of you too, right? I mean, especially if you're working your body really hard, it's like working hard to maintain your flexibility in your muscles, not letting that junk build up. It's just, I just think it's huge.
I mean, if you're only trying to keep the flexibility in a certain range, you're neglecting all the other stuff.
Right.
So just move through that full range of motion.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily be worried about like, I want to do the splits, and do just the splits. Work everything else.
Don't just do splits. So I think today actually Dr. Lee is going to be doing some filming for us, and hopefully maybe you'll share some of that with us today.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we're going to put it out on daily exercises on Tuesdays. Is we'll put out some tips from Dr. Lee on just some of the stuff you're talking about, because I know it's simple, but I think a lot of people are like, what does that mean, full range? So that'll be really, really useful. Okay, so that's easy. So great tips so far. What about so key takeaway would be really that moving your joints through full range every day, keep your muscles loose, and then any other magic you want to share with us through this Facebook Live, or would you rather just have people come in and see you?
Oh yeah. Well, there's two easy things that everybody can do. One, just be hydrated. I mean, 99% of your body by volume is water.
Yeah.
It's 70% when you factor in all the other substances and molecules in the body, but 99% of your body, if you were to pick off a piece of skin, 99% of it would be water. So you want water constantly throughout the day.
Yeah, I know it's so important. Dr. Bruce that's his big thing too.
Yeah.
He's always drink water. That was his first, I think, video that he did for us, was drink water.
That's like one of the main things we press with our athletes at the Seawolves. And I think that's what's helped us win the national championship this year. Just them staying on their recovery and just maintaining that level of health that they need.
So do you have a nutritionist that works with them as well?
We don't have any nutritionists yet, not in an official capacity yet. But we have had some people come and speak with them, give some tips, and the guys are always asking. And the cool thing about them is that they always want to learn. So they're always looking for reading material, which we provide them, and just kind of work together as a team rather than having specific treatment plans and eating plans.
Yeah. So water and beer.
Yeah, definitely a beer on a Saturday night after the game.
Water and Guinness, right?
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
That's your favorite thing to drink, of course.
Yeah.
You gotta go with the Guinness.
Awesome. So Dr. Lees is going to start with us here at Head to Toe August 1st, which is not very long from now, actually.
Oh, it's only about 2 weeks.
Yeah. He's going to be working Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. The rest of the time he's committed to the team, which is awesome. But we'll get him for some days anyway. He's right now we're climbing through the insurance ladders and all that sort of good stuff. So, but within not too much time, he should be ready to roll. So, come and book an appointment with him and learn some of this new fantastic stuff that you're going to be teaching with the functional range conditioning. I'm excited to add that to the office. I think it's going to be great for everybody, really. So, and then watch out for his tips. Will come out on, I think, hopefully next couple Tuesdays. He'll be putting a few out on video.
Definitely.
So, anything more you want to add?
Yeah, I'm just excited to be here head to toe. Can't wait for you guys to come on it.
Yeah. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, guys.